After my twin sister Clara died, I found out that our parents had been scrubbing me from records for years. College essays, wills, you name it, even stealing money in my name. So I wrote the truth. Her DUIs, their cover-ups, the house they stole from my inheritance, and published it in the paper. Parents lost their minds, threatened to sue, called me a spiteful, lonely nothing. Joke's on them. I took the house Clara left me, pawned their heirlooms, and now they're selling their mansion to pay debts. I found out my sister was dead the same way I found out I'd been erased. A push notification from the Hollowbrook Gazette. Local luminary, Clara Whitmore, 28, dies in tragic accident. I clicked. Of course I clicked. And there it was, right under the photo of her perfect face. She's survived by her devoted parents, Margaret and Robert Whitmore. No cherished sister. No loving sibling. Just airbrushed out like I'd never existed. Mom's voicemail came an hour later. Sweetheart, the funeral's tomorrow. I know you two weren't close, but we like you there. For closure. Her voice cracked, but not for me. Never for me. I wore black. Not for Clara, but because I wanted to look like the ghost they were trying to make me. The church smelled like lilies and hypocrisy. Dad stood at the podium, dabbing his eyes with a monogrammed handkerchief. Clara was our light, he said, voice trembling. Our only light. That's when I laughed. A sharp, ugly sound that cut through the hymn-singing haze. Head swiveled. Mom's Botoxed forehead creased. Jenna, she hissed, gliding over in her funeral heels. This isn't the time. You forgot me, I said, holding up my phone, the obituary glowing. Survived by her devoted parents. Really? She didn't flinch. It was a rush draft. The funeral home made a mistake. Bullshit. You've had 20 years to remember me. How's this any different? Dad materialized, gripping my elbow. Not here. I yanked free. Why? Worried the eulogy's missing a footnote? P.S. We had another kid, but she's more of a rough draft. Aunt Lydia gasped. Cousin Drew smirked into his program. Mom's mask slipped, just for a second. You're being cruel. She's dead, Jenna, and you're still picking her over me. Classic. Dad stepped between us, voice low. Go home. You're drunk. On what? Your attention? Because I've been sober for that since birth. The room buzzed. Clara's best friend, Tiffany, piped up from the front row. Maybe if you'd been nicer to her, you'd be in the obit too. I whirled. Nicer? I drove her to rehab. Twice. You think her yoga retreats were for Zen? She blew through your trust fund on pills and Porsche rentals. But sure, let's all pretend she was Mother Teresa in Lululemons. Mom slapped me. The sound cracked like a whip. The room froze. Get out, she whispered. I touched my stinging cheek. You've been practicing that. Who'd you picture? Me at graduation? Me begging you to come to the hospital when I had pneumonia? Or just me? Dad grabbed my arm again, hauling me toward the exit. You're embarrassing yourself. No, I'm embarrassing you. Big difference. He shoved me into the vestibule. Rain lashed the stained glass, painting Joan of Arc's face in streaks. You've always resented her, he spat. Resented her? You bought her a beach house when she got fired for slapping her intern. You told me to be grateful for a Target gift card when I made partner. Clara needed help. So did I. My voice echoed off the vaulted ceiling. But you were too busy keeping her alive to notice I was drowning. He looked at me like I was a stranger. You're alive, aren't you? The door creaked open. Mom stood there, a silhouette in black lace. The pastor's waiting. Robert, they want family photos. Family photos. I snorted. Careful, Mom. I might photobomb. She didn't laugh. This isn't about you. Today is for Clara. Yeah, and tomorrow? And next week? What do I get a day? She stepped closer. You want a day? Be better. The words hung there, sharp and final, like a judge's gavel. I pulled the funeral program from my pocket, tore it down the middle, and let the pieces flutter to the floor. Don't worry. After today, you won't have to pretend I exist. Dad's jaw twitched. Dramatic as always. Learn from the best. I walked out. The rain soaked through my blazer, but I didn't speed up. Let them take their photos. Let them remember their perfect, polished lie. Halfway to the car, my phone buzzed. A text from Mom. You'll regret this. I typed back. I regret you. Then I blocked her number. I didn't cry when I got home. I raided the liquor cabinet instead. Mom's prize bourbon tasted like ash, but I drank it straight from the bottle anyway, staring at the cardboard box I dragged out of the closet. It smelled like dust and denial. Inside, every report card, birthday card, and hospital bracelet they'd ever half-assed for me. I started with my birth certificate, Jenna Marie Whitmore. Parents, Margaret and Robert Whitmore. No typos there. But then I found Clara's. Same parents. Same hospital. Same fucking day. Twins. Twins. They'd never once mentioned it. Not even on birthdays when Mom would slice 2 separate cakes and say, Clara's is vanilla. She's delicate. Delicate, right? I dug deeper. School enrollment forms. Clara's listed her as only child. My 3rd grade art trophy, broken in half and taped back with a post-it, Clara's room only. And then, under a stack of unpaid medical bills, mine from the pneumonia they called dramatic, I found it, Clara's college essay. The title alone made me choke. Growing up an only child, how solitude shaped my resilience. I read it aloud to the empty apartment. Without siblings, I learned to rely on myself. She plagiarized it from some Ivy League template, probably. But the kicker? The handwritten note from Mom at the bottom. Perfect. Paid Mr. Daniels extra to keep quiet. Don't tell Jenna. The bourbon burned hotter on the way back up. The repast was at the country club, because of course it was. Clara's favorite place, where she'd gotten banned for doing tequila shots in the pool. I walked in uninvited, the essay crumpled in my fist. Mom stood by the shrimp tower, laughing politely at some old man story. Jenna, she said, smile freezing. You're here. Surprise. I tossed the essay onto a tray of caviar blinis. Care to explain? Dad materialized, his tie loosened like he'd just come from a board meeting instead of gravesite. Not now, Jenna. Oh, it's definitely now. I jabbed the paper. You paid someone to call her an only child? Seriously? Mom's eyelid twitched. It was a strategic edit. Colleges prefer unique narratives. Unique? You erased me. Aunt Carol hovered nearby, clutching her Chardonnay like a shield. Margaret, people are staring. Let them stare. I snapped. Fun fact, Auntie, you're in here too. Remember when you asked Mom why she didn't send me back after the adoption rumors? Dad grabbed my wrist. Enough. You're hysterical. I yanked free. Hysterical? You turned me into a ghost. Was I that embarrassing? Too fat? Too queer? Too alive? Mom's composure cracked. You made everything harder. Claire was easy to love. You were just work. The room hushed. Even the waiters stopped pouring. I laughed, a broken, jagged sound. Work? I got straight A's. I stayed sober. I paid my own bills. What did she do? Crash cars and max out your Amex. Dad stepped closer, voice low. She's dead, Jenna. Show some respect. Respect. I shoved the essay at him. You want to talk respect? You lied. For her. For years. What did you tell yourselves at night? That I wouldn't notice? That I'd just disappear? Mom's mascara bled. We didn't think you'd care. The words hung there, ugly and final. I picked up a champagne flute, toasted the room. Congrats, everybody. The Whitmores finally admit it. I threw the glass into the fireplace. It shattered like the last 28 years. Cousin Drew grabbed my arm. You need to leave. Why? Am I ruining the fantasy? I ripped a photo off the memorial board, Clara and Dad on yacht. Me cropped out, except for my elbow. Here's the truth. She hated you. Both of you. Called you soulless ATMs behind your backs. Mom flinched. You're lying. Am I? I pulled out my phone, played the voicemail Clara left me last year. If I have to hear Mom's champagne problems speech one more time, I'll drown myself in the pool. Don't pretend you're not relieved I'm the fuck up. Dad paled. Mom's knees buckled. Someone gasped. I leaned in, whispered. You love to lie? Now you get to mourn it. The drive home blurred. I pulled over twice to scream into the steering wheel. When I finally got back, I dragged the box to the balcony, dumped everything, photos, certificates, the essay, into a metal trash can. The flames ate it all. Every report card, every lie, every we're proud, but have you seen Clara's grades? I watched the smoke curl into the night. Then I texted the only person left who'd care, the pawn shop guy who'd bought Grandma's necklace. You still open? He replied, for you? Always. They uninvited me from the burial, but I showed up anyway. Let them try to stop me. The cemetery gates loomed like jagged teeth, rain slicing through the gray as I parked behind Dad's Lexus. Mom's voice carried from under a black canopy. A light gone too soon. I almost gagged. Light? Clara once set the curtains on fire trying to smoke weed in the bathroom. I marched past the rows of headstones, my boots sinking into mud. The family huddle turned as one, a flock of vultures in wool coats. Mom's face twisted. Jenna, you weren't invited? Yeah, but neither was the truth, and here we both are. Dad stepped forward, blocking the open grave. Leave. Now. Or what? You'll dig a second hole. I pulled the folded obituary from my pocket, the paper damp and smudged. Relax. I'm just here to say goodbye. The pastor hovered, clutching his Bible like a shield. Perhaps a few words? Mom's knuckles whitened around her umbrella. No. Yes. I grabbed the mic before she could protest. The crowd shifted. Aunts, uncles, Clara's rehab buddies, all staring. I cleared my throat. Clara Whitmore. Beloved liar, professional disaster, and my parents' favorite tax deduction. Gasps. Dad lunged, but I ducked. Sit down, Robert. This'll hurt you more than me. I tapped my phone. Clara's voice crackled through the speakers, raw and slurred from a voicemail she'd left me months ago. Hey, Jay, tell Mom and Dad I'm at the spa if they call. Also, I stole your earrings. The gold ones. They're fugly, but pawn shops don't care. Mom's breath hitched. Turn it off. I played another. Remember when Dad said he'd pay my rent if I quit coke? Joke's on him. I snorted a check. The crowd erupted. A cousin lunged, but Tiffany, Clara's eternally wasted BFF, shrieked, "Let her talk. This is gold." Dad grabbed the mic stand. "Enough." I held up the obituary. "You want to remember her as a saint? Fine. But I'll remember the real Clara. The one who failed rehab, crashed my graduation, and told me every Christmas how jealous she was that Mom and Dad ignored me." Mom froze. "What? Oh, she hated you. Called you step forward psychos. So the only reason she stayed messed up was so you'd keep caring." I tossed the mic at the casket. It thudded against the wood. "Congrats, Mom. Your love was her addiction." Chaos. Aunt Carol fainted into the shrimp dip. Dad's face purpled. "You spiteful little truth teller." I finished. "Yeah, hereditary, apparently." Mom lunged, nails raking my arm. "You're dead to us." I laughed, blood trickling. "Took you long enough to notice." Security arrived, two beefy guys who reeked of nicotine. They dragged me past the grave, my heels carving trenches in the mud. I craned my neck, shouting, "Ask Mom where Clara's charity work cash really went." Hint, Botox isn't tax deductible. They tossed me at the gates. Rain soaked through my blouse as I texted the pawn shop guy. "Got another piece. The earrings she stole. How much for the set?" He replied instantly. "Bring him. I'll give you extra for the drama." I spat blood into a puddle, watching it swirl down the drain. Clara's final gift to me. A front row seat to the family's unraveling. I wrote Clara's real obituary at 2 a.m. in a diner that reeked of burnt coffee and regret. The waitress kept refilling my mug without asking, side-eyeing the stack of papers I'd hauled in. Tax records, bank statements, and the glittery journal Clara kept during her wellness journey. Page 1. Day 3 in Bali. Did ayahuasca. Stole a jet ski. Lost Mom's Cartier bracelet. Worth it. I ordered pie I didn't eat and wrote like I was carving flesh. Clara Marie Whitmore, 28, died as she lived, catastrophically. Survived by parents who paid off DUIs, silenced assault allegations, and funded her addiction to attention. Predeceased by her dignity in 2017. The waitress leaned over. "Honey, you okay?" I slid her a 20. "Ever wish your family got hit by a meteor?" She pocketed the cash. Daily. I paid extra to run it in the Hollow Brook Gazette's Sunday print edition. The editor hesitated. "This is aggressive." I smiled. "It's a public service. Think of the clicks." When the paper hit doorsteps, my phone blew up like a bomb. Mom called first. "How dare you?" Her voice trembled, not with grief, but rage. "She's dead. Let her rest." Rest? Clara didn't rest. She ricocheted. I scrolled the online comments. "Look, Karen from the PDA says you're monsters. Want me to read it to you?" Dad cut in, speakerphone crackling. "Take it down. Now. Or what? You'll disown me harder." Silence. Then Mom, "I see. We'll sue." "For what? Libel? Prove it's false. I've got receipts. Want to see the Venmo Clara sent me for her dealer." A thud. Mom slamming something. "You're dead to us." "Cool. Send the memo to the Gazette. They keep spelling Whitmore wrong." I hung up, blocked them again, and opened the pawn shop's dusty door. The necklace was last. A dainty gold chain with a sapphire pendant. The one Clara borrowed and never returned. Mom gave it to her on her 16th birthday, while I got a coupon book for 10 free hugs. And used. Obviously. The pawn guy Sal whistled. "This the one she wore in that Instagram post, right? Blessed?" "Yep, blessedly stolen." I slapped it on the counter. "How much?" He squinted. "Grandma's." "Nah, mine." He slid $500 across the counter. "You're a mess, kid." "Thanks. It's genetic." I stuffed the cash and the pawn ticket into an envelope scrawled from Claire's estate on the front and drove to their mansion. Dad answered Tylus, eyes bloodshot. "What now?" I tossed the envelope at his feet. "Claire wanted you to have this." Mom peered over his shoulder. "Is that her necklace?" "Well, my necklace. But you can buy it back. Think of it as reparations." Dad tore the ticket, face flushing. "You're pathetic." "Pathetic? You're broke. The house is mortgaged, the cars are leased, and Claire's trust fund? Poof, like her septum piercing." Mom lunged, but Dad held her back. "Get out." I leaned in, whispered, "Check page 6. There's a lovely shot of Clara's charity gala. The photo, Clara, mid-snort, lines of coke on the bathroom sink. The caption, Philanthropy Queen." Mom screamed, "Follow me to the car. We'll ruin you." I revved the engine. "You already did. Took me years to excel at it." Back home, I lit the pawn ticket's carbon copy on fire, watched it curl into ash. Sal texted. They showed up. Paid double. I laughed. Let them have the necklace. Let it choke them. The voicemails piled up. Relatives, lawyers, reporters. I played them loud while scrubbing the bourbon stain from Chapter 2's meltdown. "Aunt Carol, you've destroyed this family." "Uncle Rick, call me. Let's settle this quietly." Clara's dealer. "Yo, they're saying you got proof I sold to her?" "Delete that shit. I saved that one." At midnight, Mom's burner number popped up. Happy now. I stare at the family portrait on my wall, the one-eyed Photoshop to remove them, leaving just me and the dog they rehomed. Getting there. She hung up. I finished the bourbon, texted Sal. Got more? I'm just getting started. He replied, bring the drama. I'll bring the cash. I smiled. Finally, someone appreciated my work. The lawyer's office smelled like mahogany and lies. Mom wore the sapphire necklace like a noose. Dad's tie was crooked. They didn't look at me. The estate attorney, a prune-faced man named Gerald, slid the will across the table. As you know, Clara's assets were left entirely to your parents. However, there is an addendum. Mom stiffened. What addendum? Gerald cleared his throat. A handwritten note, dated 6 months before her passing. I leaned back, boots on the table. Let me guess. Burn everything and blame Jenna? He read aloud, voice flat. To Jenna, if you're hearing this, they finally pissed you off enough to dig. The house on Willow? It's yours. Always was. I told them to tell you. Guess they forgot. P.S. The necklace was fugly. You're welcome. See, Mom's chair screeched. That's not legal. I grinned. Sure it is. Witness signature, Tiffany fucking Adams. Notarized in Vegas, looks like. Dad's fist hit the table. We'll contest it. Gerald winced. Given the publicity, I'd advise against it. The Gazette piece has, complicated things. I pocketed the keys to the Willow Street house, my house, and stood. Don't bother walking me out. You've got boxes to pack. Mom's composure finally snapped. You're nothing. A spiteful, lonely nothing. I paused at the door. Funny. I feel pretty whole. The Willow house was a time capsule of Clara's chaos. Empty tequila bottles in the fireplace, a chandelier hung with Mardi Gras beads, and a hole in the wall from her yoga phase. I found her journal in the freezer, of course, wedged between vodka popsicles and a Ziploc of weed. The last entry. If you're reading this, I'm dead and Mom's probably blaming you. The house is yours. Burn it. Salt the earth. Or keep it. Just live louder than they ever let us. I didn't burn it. I painted the walls blood red and rented it to Tiffany, who paid in cash and ketamine jokes. Mom and Dad sold the mansion. The listing said motivated seller. I sent a bouquet of dead roses with a card. Price reduced? How relatable. They moved to a condo. A neighbor DM'd me photos of Dad hauling trash bags and sweatpants. I framed them. The final letter came on a Tuesday. Mom's handwriting, shaky. We could have fixed this. You chose revenge. I didn't write back. I filed a lien on the condo instead. Today, I'm on the porch of the Willow house. Sal's pawn shop cash funding a lemonade stand run by the neighbor's kid. Tiffany sunbathes on the roof. The dog they rehomed, now mine, snores at my feet. My phone buzzes. Unknown number. You win. Call me. Mom. I block it, sip bitter coffee, and flip through Clara's journal. One line's circled in glitter pen. The best revenge is no reaction. But the second best is arson. I text Sal. Got a lighter? He replies, for you? Always. I don't burn it, but I keep the option open.